anyway, we're going to start on our journey here. And you can see the little firehouse down here on the right. That used to be a firehouse. They abandoned it. I don't even know. I'm sure somebody owns it, but I don't know what it's used for anymore. So we're going to go like we would go on our trip to Shelbyville before I-74 was a thing, and see what that's all about. Won't that be fun? Now, last time I was here, I said it's always hard to get out on Hamilton Avenue, but there wasn't that time, but this time there is. So it's a little bit different. Well, it's not that bad. But like I said, these woods on the right here, I want to point out, well, you can see them. All these woods was part of the woods that I used to roam. In fact, there was a few times I came out of here to see Hamilton Avenue. And this used to seem like so far from Penny Lane to Struble Road. I thought, oh, that was just too far to walk. Kids, you know how that is. So anyway, oh, I hate when they do this to roads. Now all this stuff on the right was not there. None of it was. It was all woods. That's the animal hospital now. Up here's the school they built. This is the elementary school. It's way back in the back since you can't see it from the road hardly. It's a big school. I'm guessing that took the place of Burlington. Wow. It is what it is, as they say. Ooh, didn't see that one. You know, I know they have to do stuff like this, but of course, it's always in the summer when they do it. Makes sense. Gloria Street right there, off to the right, comes out in Mount Healthy Heights, but I don't think that goes all the way through. I think it stops part of the way. This, I believe, is Pipton. What did I say? Pipton. Pippin. I'm so used to saying Tipton at home. Pippin is the name. Pippin's a long road too. All these places I used to haunt when I was a kid. There used to be a lake over here, Lake Gloria. Used to play golf there with my friend, who's also now deceased. Now, the other day when we came out here, we went down Springdale because this road was closed, but obviously we're going down the original way now, which is what I wanted to do in the first place anyway. Apparently that wasn't a big project they had going on back here. I guess it was probably stripping that road down is what they were doing, if I had to guess. Trying to think. Pottinger Road, I think, goes back to Rumpke's Mountain. Rumpke's over here it'd be on the right. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Maybe. Rumpke, millionaire many times over because of trash. He made his money. I guess it's on the other side. Oh, there's part of it. Part of it's on that side of the highway, and part of it's on the other side. That's kind of interesting. But on the right there, like I said, I'll try to put some photos of that. It's just they call it Rumpke's Mountain. But he made his money from trash, collecting trash. He started out, in the rural areas, and you can see it, I think, on the right there. That's a big operation, man. I tell you what, that's just a landfill is all that is. That's all it is trash. But they do a good job of you know, doing it proper. So I've had to, I'm sure. But anyway, that's a big, like I said, big operation. But like I said, there was a city of Cincinnati truck going out there to dump. They're coming all the way out here to dump. That's, you know, that shows you something. There's not a lot of places to dump. So, it is what it is. We're going to go straight here. Last time we went down Coleraine Modified. That's what that is. Today we're going this way. This is old Coleraine.
Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel looking back at me. They have signs that say slow down. I drive 25.
And I was surprised it's still here, but it is. I guess there's enough businesses and houses they have to still leave the road open. It's a hilly, curvy road. But this is the way you had to go before they had that. The Coleraine Modified is obviously a 4-lane highway. Nice road. But this is the original route. That's what I wanted to take before, was the original route. Now, if things work out, I may get out of the car down here at the bottom of the hill at the bridge and take a picture of the plaque. There's a plaque on that bridge. And when we get down here, you'll see it's a new bridge. Now, the old bridge is what I remember, because it was an old iron bridge. And they called it Venice Bridge. And I have no idea the way things go, but you're going to get down here and we'll talk about it then. But again, this is they don't maintain it real well, obviously, but they do maintain it, I guess. Quite a few houses out here, so I guess I have to kind of. Yeah, that was the big thing when I lived here, in a Coleraine Modified. They just cut out the hill there, and down over the hill it went. Sure saved a lot of time, got a much better road. I understand why they did it. But we're going to go the old way. Hey, I remember it.
Orange barrels everywhere I see. Orange barrels looking back at me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel looking back at me. They have signs that say slow down. I drive 25 through town. Their faces are dark and dirty and brown. They're looking back at me. Orange barrels everywhere I see. Orange barrels, why can't I be free? Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest apparel looking back at me. They stand in their stinking sweat. I haven't seen them working yet. They have to pee in a portalet and their butt crack smiles at me.
So anyway. I don't know what they use that stuff for, but they use that stuff they scrape off here as old asphalt for stuff, and I don't remember exactly what it was. $45, that's optimistic. View, okay. Most hills do block view. And Bob pointed out a traffic sign yesterday. Road is slick, when it's raining, or a highway is wet when it's raining, or something like that. Some of the signs they come up with just kills me. One of the things, I don't have to be fast here. There's not a lot of traffic on this road. Usually, most people that use it are the ones that live here or work here. There's obviously businesses here. That's Kemper Road. That used to be bypass 50 around Cincinnati. That was before 275 came into existence. Obviously, they don't use that anymore. Not as a bypass anyway. 50 goes right through Cincinnati. It always has. Downtown. I recall Dad using that route sometimes too, depending on a lot of different things. He'd come over to Kemper Road on Hamilton Avenue and come out Kemper to Coleraine. And this is Old Coleraine. So. You can see why they need to change. This being a U.S. highway, that was not really cutting it too good. Probably won't be a lot of traffic on this road either, but there wasn't last time. East Miami River Road's on the right, I think. Somewhere. And we haven't got down to it yet. Been a long time since I went this way. East Miami River Road travels, obviously, the river, Miami River, and it goes all the way to Cleves, Ohio, on this side of the river. And then on the other side of the river, 128 goes to Cleves on the other side of the river. So, Cleves is a happening place. Ah, here it is down here. To the right. See the stop sign there for it. That's where I came out before. I'm hoping I could turn off down here. See where the cars are pulling out. That's the bridge. We're on 120. Well, we're still on Coleraine Avenue, but they call this 126 as well. So. I'm not going to be able to get that picture. I'll get it some other time. There's a plaque right there. You can see it. You can see right there. It tells all about the this bridge here, which again is the Venice Bridge. And the reason they call it the Venice Bridge because Ross, which we're coming into up here, used to be called Venice. I think they named it Venice back in the. Actually, they didn't name it Venice. And I'll put the proper spelling of it up in the on the screen. But it over time, for some reason, we're in Butler County now. We left Hamilton County. But over time, for some reason, the spelling got mixed up. It's kind of a funny story, I guess. And it became Venice instead of the original name of the town that the guy that named it. And it was a V-E-N something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, like I said, I guess maybe he pronounced it Venice, and they just started spelling it like Venice. I guess I don't know. Anyway, it's Ross now. I think back 100 years ago is when they changed it to Ross. I think it was 1925, I believe. Was the year. I'll correct it if I'm wrong, but we are on the Cincinnati Brookville Road, and we are as such going to go towards Brookville. Now, if you turn left here, that's 128, and that goes again, like I say, it goes between Cleves and Hamilton. That truck is going our way, so we'll have to be behind him, I guess. Signs say 126. That's a pretty good highway. It's not bad. I know the other day. Now see, East 252. That's another one of those Indiana highways that go somewhere to. It goes to US 52. So that's 252. And it don't change to 252 until you go across the state line. We got 3 towns I know of to go through. And we got to go past the Fernald plant out here. Fernald's the big news. I'll put some screenshots of that and a blurb about that. I think Fernald was a uranium enrichment plant back during the Cold War. And the only thing I remember about it is we go out this way and you see the smoke from the smokestacks. And at that time there wasn't a lot of growing up foliage around it, and like I said, you could actually see the whole plant then. But nowadays you can't see it. Well, there's really nothing there. They've got a visitor center, but they closed down the plant. It was one of those super sites where they had, back in the 80s, was it? They had to clean it all up because of the uranium. But again, it's all pointed out down here. When we get there, you can still go back there, and they're open today, but I'm not going to go back there. I don't really care about that much. I mean, I remember as a kid, but I don't really care to see where they used to do all that stuff. As we start to go up the hill, I believe on the left, there's a road. You'll see the pull off there. Now, that's how you get back to it, but the gates are closed, so apparently it's not even open now. So. Of course, it's only 8:20, so maybe that might be why. I don't know. The reason I'm not going real fast here is because that truck's up there, and I really don't like following trucks that much. But, again, we'll get going. He may be going to a business or something out here, I don't know. Very few trucks, I think, go to Indiana this way. Like I say, once the expressway was in, everybody goes that way. Even Dad, I think, we took one trip, I think I can remember, on 74. I know I drove it once when I was a kid. Maybe it was Mom I drove, I can't remember. I remember she used to say, now, watch your speed, watch your speed. I was doing the speed limit. But, you know, it was 70 miles an hour, so she, watch your speed. Oh, anyway. I hadn't been driving that long, I guess. I guess it's understandable. A lot more traffic on this road today than it was the other day. I will say that much. Now, the first time we come to is Shandon. Shandon, I think. Shandon. Nice house, though. Of course, these slow towns, you got to slow down a little bit. You know how that is. I'm only doing about 50, so not going overly fast. I think this is Shandon down here. 35. Yep, Shannon. Busy, busy, busy. People going places. 748, I remember that road. I forget where it goes, but I remember it. Now, the reason, I didn't really go into the reason why we're doing this, but as I started to tell you, and I think on the highway, I don't know if you get to hear me talking, but we'll see. But we used to have a couple of trips that we took, long trips. I call long trips. This one's only an hour and a half. But hour and a half when you're 10 years old is a long trip. Are we there yet? So, 45. So we used to go out here to Shelbyville to visit Mom's cousin, I should say, Faye, and we usually spend the night and then come back, the next day or whatever. But that was one of the trips I remember because her husband, they used to call him Mouse. His last name was Rouse. His real name was Norman. But they called him Mouse. Mouse and Faye, that's where we used to go. And like I said, he always had a new car. And I was into cars back then. I mean, big time. And usually it was an Oldsmobile or Pontiac. And of course, Dad drove Buicks. And I remember he always had one a little bit newer than Dad did, which was, Dad when he traded cars, it was usually a 2-year-old car he got, and he traded every 2 years or whatever, and that was the way it worked. But so I think when we had pretty sure when we had the 61 Buick and went out here, I think he had a 63 Pontiac. I believe it was a Pontiac. But anyway, like I said, that was one of the things. But the other thing was Faye made the best mashed potatoes anybody'd ever had. And the only thing was that she whipped them with beaters, mixer beaters, instead of using the masher like Mom did. Mom's, mashed potatoes were lumpy, and I used to brag about them, and I know it hurt Mom's feelings. I didn't mean to do it. I was a kid, But like I said, it's because Mom started doing that after I used to talk about it. She said, "Well, here, I'll do it too." So I was okay, and sure enough, it was better. So. But at that time, lumpy potatoes wasn't something that you liked, or I didn't, Of course, as you grow older, you get to appreciate them a little bit more, and now I prefer them. But like I say, it's just different things for when you're kids. Taste have really changed since then. But that was one of the things there are a couple of things I remember about going out here that, they didn't have any kids. I was always the one that everybody doted on. Of course, later in life they did. They had a son named Stephen. I don't know if we ever visited him after that or not. I don't think we did. But, another town. I believe this one's Okeana. Or maybe it's just this railroad crossing. I don't know. No, there's a sign. Okeana. Okeana. If you don't believe me, read it. Now, that's another thing. This always used to be such a long trip. I used to think from one town to the next just took forever. It just, I don't know, it's just, your perception is so much different. I guess, like I said, the impatience. You want to get somewhere and do something. But anyway. But the other trip we took was down to see, again, my Dad's parents lived in Columbia, Kentucky. Grandma and Grandpa Burton. And that was a longer trip. That was a good long trip. And I remember going over gravel roads when I was really young. And it just seemed like that took forever. But again, you know, just way you are when you're a kid. I was thinking about in the back of the car, sometimes I would lay up in the back. I was a real skinny kid, and I would lay back up in the package tray. You know what the package tray is. And of course, Dad didn't care. He had a side mirror he could see out of. But it's just the difference that you had back then. Of course, you know, you got the nanny state now. You got to be buckled in. You got to be this. You got to be that. It's weird. I don't know. The last little town we're coming to is Scipio, and we're gonna have to catch the sign because I'd like to sign because I couldn't see it the first time I came out here. I saw it on the video, and that's how I knew it was there. But when you get to Scipio, you're in Indiana, so. Or you're not in Indiana, but that's the state line. See, I got somebody coming up behind me. I wanted to go slower. They were just setting this up the other day.
Looking back at me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel looking back at me. They have signs that say slow down. I drive 25 through town. Their faces are dark and dirty and brown. They're looking back at me. Orange barrels everywhere I see. Orange barrels, why can't I be free? Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest apparel looking back at me. They stand in their stinking sweat. I haven't seen them working yet. They have to pee in a portalet and their butt crack smiles at me. If I could fly, I'd leave this world behind, and I'd free up my mind from this debris. And the orange barrels looking back at me. Orange barrels everywhere I see. Orange barrels looking back at me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest apparel. They piss off my girlfriend Carol, who's sitting next to me. She makes calls on my cell phone. All she does is piss and moan. I should have left her big fat ass at home or have her service me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest.
I'll find a place to pull off. I'll pull off. Or just go faster, I guess. Doesn't look like I'm gonna find a place to pull off. Now you can see a sign somewhere down through here. It says 129, 126, I don't know. That's when you're getting near Scipio. Yeah, those two trips are the major trips that we took. You know, we used to go to Swordsville Lake every once in a while. That was a pretty long trip. It's north of Hamilton. But you know, the only other place to go like that with an amusement park was Coney Island in Cincinnati. And we never went there as far as I can remember as a kid. I don't know if they didn't like it or what, but I just don't ever remember going. I remember when I was older we went to Coney Island, but and then of course Kings Island came along, and you know everybody went to Kings Island. It is what it is. Be a good place for him to pass, but we're going 55 now, so it's kind of hard to do that. So 126 Cincinnati Brookville Road, and that's where we're headed, Brookville. One of our many destinations. Watch for the Scipio sign on the right. It's in the trees. There's the highway signs I was talking about. 129 goes right, 252 goes straight. It's on the right down here, as you can see. Scipio, right there.
Orange barrels everywhere I see. Orange barrels looking back at me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest apparel. They pissed off my girlfriend Carol, who's sitting next to me. She makes calls on my cell phone. All she does is piss and moan. I should have left her big fat ass at home, or have her service me. Look at Larry, Darrell, and Darrell standing next to the orange barrel in their orange vest apparel. They pissed off my girlfriend Carol, whose favorite act is Willie Farrell. He's a comic just like me. We drive through the rain and snow through orange barrels. Here we go. Will the work get done? Well, no one knows. It remains a mystery. Orange barrels, orange barrels, orange barrels, orange barrels.